Have you ever watched the movie King Kong? I'm sure most of you have. In that movie, there's a huge colossal of a gorilla, king of his jungle, a powerhouse and a force to be reckoned with. Then come along a group of greedy Americans. They turn up and find this amazing king of the jungle, and in their greed and desire to make money for themselves, they bring this huge magnificent creature to its knees so they can commercialize him to the rest of the world. Welcome to the Glazers. This is what they've done to the giant of a club called Manchester United. We are hearing from several sources that the Glazers are ready to speak, ready to tell the world what they have been doing for 8 months after announcing in November last year that they will be exploring strategic alternatives for the club. Can anyone explain what that means within a few sentences? I come from a corporate background and I can tell you this is total BS. I think it's best that I go through the announcement made on the 22nd of November 2022 with you up on the screen, just so we can all look at what the Glazers actually announced, because I'm sure I, like the most of you, did not sit down and read this statement. I am sure most of the United fans heard the news headlines of United up for sale and celebrated like nothing else. Celebrated prematurely, it seems. No one stopped to read the statement made by the Glazers or ask any questions of the press and the news channels claiming United was up for sale. I don't want to bore you with the details, but trust me, we need to take a look at this statement. We need to truly understand the state of the Glazers and what their true intentions are. Our once giant of a football club has been brought to its knees by the Glazers for their own personal gains. 22nd November 2022, Manchester, England. Manchester United PLC, one of the most successful and historic sports clubs in the world, announces today that the company board of directors is commencing a process to explore strategic alternatives for the club. The process is designed to enhance the club's future growth, with the ultimate goal of positioning the club to capitalise on opportunities both on the pitch and commercially. As part of this process, the board will consider all strategic alternatives, including new investment into the club, a sale, or other transactions involving the company. Let's stop there. Let's stop right here and look at the wording of the opening of this statement. Strategic alternatives for the club. What the hell does that mean? These are key words we need to keep in mind. Does that sound like words of a family that want to leave and sell the club? Ask yourself that question. The more telling part of the statement is, the board will consider all strategic alternatives, including new investment into the club. The word investments is not first on the list by mistake. It's first on the list because that is what the number one target for the Glazers was and still is. Investment, not sale. They just wanted someone to come in and hand them a lump sum of money and walk away. And if all that failed, they just might consider a sale and or some other transaction that might be a hybrid of the first two. It is clear from the wording that the Glazers were never looking to sell the club and wanted further investment into the club from other outside sources. They can't come out and say this in public, we need money, so this is another way of saying it without sounding desperate. The statement went on to say this will include an assessment of several initiatives to strengthen the club, including stadium and infrastructure redevelopment and expansion of the club's commercial operations on a global scale, each in the context of enhancing the long-term success of the club's men's, women's and academy teams and bringing benefits to fans and other stakeholders. So the Glazers are saying that they want to spend on the stadium and infrastructure and want to further expand the club's commercial operations. Does that sound like someone who is looking to sell? Would you start to redecorate your entire home and build an extension to it and modernise it, put new furniture in it whilst you're thinking about selling your home? Of course you wouldn't. You'd start looking at the cheapest way to sell your house and get the hell out of there. This statement clearly showed that the Glazers had no real intention of selling. I've been saying this for months. The Glazers fooled us all, the billions of fans, the media, even the manager and the players. But For anyone who reads the statement a little more carefully, it starts sounding like someone who wishes to stay exactly where they are, but just to get some outside help with some of the upgrades. The statement actually goes on to waffle on about Joel and Avram Glazer believing that Manchester United is a huge club with a huge loyal fan base, and then it finishes off with this. There can be no assurance that the review being undertaken will result in any transaction involving the company. Manchester United does not intend to make further announcements regarding the review unless and until the board has approved a specific transaction or other course of action requiring a formal announcement. Let's read this back. There can be no assurance that the review being undertaken will result in any transaction. That essentially, what is that? That is what we call a get out clause, a get out of jail card, a walk away card, back to square one card. The Glazers literally told us exactly what they will be doing in this statement, yet no one from the media, journalists, news channels begged to ask the question, what the hell does this mean? There can be no assurances that the review will result in a transaction. What the Glazers are saying here is if they do not like the options the review comes up with, or putting it more accurately, if they don't like the offers that the people and companies make to them as investments into Manchester United, they're going to remain in the same position without a single change. This is soul destroying as a Man United fan, but it's also liberating because we all need to be aware of this infestation. The Glazers have destroyed the very core of Manchester United. Most fans describe the Glazers as parasites, but they are worse than parasite because we cannot get rid of them. Not only have they managed to fool the fans, but they've managed to fool two very intelligent businessmen who in their own rights are far more successful and richer than the whole Glazer family. The Glazer siblings haven't even achieved anything major themselves. It was their father Malcolm Glazer who set them up for life. It was Malcolm Glazer's shrewd business dealings when he was young that made them the fortune that they have now. He was the one who bought Manchester United. He was the one who had a history of hostile takeovers at companies. He had been doing such takeovers well before he set his eyes on the giant called Manchester United. Have you ever watched the movie King Kong? I'm sure most of you have. In that movie, there's a huge colossal of a gorilla, king of his jungle, a powerhouse and a force to be reckoned with. Then come along a group of greedy Americans. They turn up and find this amazing king of the jungle, and in their greed and desire to make money for themselves, they bring this huge magnificent creature to its knees so they can commercialize him to the rest of the world. Welcome to the Glazers. This is what they've done to the giant of a club called Manchester United. Take a look at what they've done to the huge magnificent club we call Manchester United. But we, the fans of the club, are not just mere fans. We are the protectors of this club. Its status and heritage. When you begin to support this club, you make a vow deep inside of you that you will stick with it through the good times and the bad times. You will protect it from rival fan slurs. You will cheer on all the players that play for the club, and you will not let anyone come in and destroy the club. We are at the crossroads right now. We have the Glazers refusing to let go of the club, but yet refusing to spend a single penny of their own on the club's infrastructure. They want someone else to come in and fund the redevelopment of the facilities. All the Glazers want is the money that the club continues to bring in each year. I found myself thinking that Ten Hag came one season too early. We needed one more bad season, one more season of finishing out of the top four and not achieving Champions League for the Glazers to maybe look at the club and decide that it wasn't worth the headache. But I don't even think that would have even been enough. I don't know why. Because it doesn't affect the Glazers. The club keeps generating a certain level of income each year without fail, and the Glazers take off their share each year. Only after they take off what they need does the club then assess what it has left to spend on new players. That is why the Glazers have not spent money on the infrastructure of the club. It's because they don't have any money left over. After they take off their own share, then pay off the interest payments on the debts, there's no money left. The only reason the Glazers spend money on buying players is because they have realised that there's a correlation between them buying players and the fans getting off their backs. We all have to admit this. We all have to accept that once a signing is being talked of and everyone gets excited, everyone gets hyped, we all start concentrating on who the player is and what he's going to be like for Manchester United, and we forget for them weeks or months all about the Glazers and the Takeover. Look, let's be honest, since we had the Mount deal come in, Onana, now we got Højlund, we kind of take our eye off what's going on with the Takeover. We've not discussed it enough. I've not discussed it enough. I've not made it a major issue. I've talked about transfers and what's going to be going on with the team and Ten Hag, but not discussed the elephant in the room, which is the Glazers and the Takeover, which they've not done yet. We are all desperate to hear that the Glazers will come out very soon and say that they are selling the club, and I'm at that stage now that I don't care who wins the bid out of Sir Jim or Sheikh Yassim. I just want the Glazers away from the club, because what the Glazers have illustrated to the fans of Man United over the years of being the owners of Manchester United is that they really don't care about Man United and what it stands for. They have absolutely no attachment to the club. They don't feel any loss or pain at Manchester United losing or winning. For the Glazers, this is purely a transactional relationship with Man United. United makes them money and it's their golden goose. They will hold on to Manchester United until one day it stops making them money. That will be the day they will drop United like a hot rock and run back without looking back. I cannot explain how much I hope I'm wrong on this and hope that a miracle happens and the Glazers sell United and say that they're off. But it's a slim chance. The problem is I'm not getting any bits of news, neither positive or negative, from anyone near the Glazers. So we've got nothing to go off as to what the Glazers are deciding. What is their next move? Are they going to sell? Are they not going to sell? The rumours coming out are simply saying that the Glazers are going to stall on the sale and are going to hold on until later on in the year. What we know are the past actions of the Glazers, and let's be honest, they have not been good. But we found out yesterday that they have one former United player in Wayne Rooney who thinks the Glazers have done a fantastic job at Manchester United. Yes, you heard me right. Wayne Rooney gave an interesting interview yesterday in which he stated that the fans did not fully appreciate what the Glazers had done at United. At the same time, he said that he thinks it's time for the Glazers to leave the club. Like, what is he saying? Which one is it, Mr. Rooney? Why do you think the Glazers should sell the club if you think they've done a good job? I'm not going to take comments Rooney made too seriously because we all know he's not the sharpest tool in the box. In fact, Rooney sounds a lot like rival club fans who quickly point out and come to the defence of the Glazers saying that they've spent so much money buying in players for United and don't understand why Manchester United fans are complaining about the Glazers and why they want the Glazers out. Well, my question is, why would rival fans defend the Glazers? Let me think why. Why would they want the Glazers to stay at Manchester United? It doesn't take a genius to work out why. What fans of rival clubs fail to understand is that the Glazers haven't spent their own personal money on buying players. They've allowed United to spend money United makes through other sources. Unlike other owners of clubs who actively have invested their money in clubs, the Glazers are just present to take money out but not put any money in. Now, I do not want to concentrate just on the takeover in its entirety. We are hearing that announcement is due very soon from the Glazers, and the announcement will be that either they are holding on to the club and not going to sell, or that they're going to delay the process of the sale to the later on in the year. I think it's going to be the latter. They're going to come out and say that they're going to delay the process, and the reason being is because if they come out and say we're not going to sell the club, there's going to be scenes. There are going to be scenes all over the place, and United fans are going to go crazy. I think even if they say we're going to delay the process, even that's going to cause protests, and I think we should let our feelings known to the Glazers that we're not happy for the process to be delayed. It ruins the entire focus of the football team. It ruins the focus of the manager. They do not want this hanging over their heads whilst the season's ongoing. And it's a ready-made excuse for most people involved with Manchester United. Well, we were distracted because of the takeover. It again illustrates that the Glazers do not care about Manchester United. They don't care about what they're doing on the pitch. All they care about is the commercial contracts and how much money is coming in elsewhere. But who knows? Who knows? I am thinking there could be a miracle and they could turn around and say, yes, they are going to sell. It does look like with every day passing that they will opt to choose Sir Jim Ratcliffe for a number of reasons. Go and watch my previous shows to hear why I think it's Jim Ratcliffe. I'm not going to repeat myself today because I have had enough of this. The Glazers have just been pulling our leg. They never ever wanted to leave the club, but let's wait and see. I think the key thing is the pressure that the fans exert on the Glazers, and through that it does affect them. It does get to them. That's the only thing that hurts them. Nothing else they care about. We can't affect them with the money because they're always going to take off the money from Manchester United. They're going to keep on making that money and they will drive contracts. They'll start selling off seats in Old Trafford if they have to. They'll start selling the turf of Old Trafford. Whatever, they'll lift out the trophies from the cabinets and start selling them off if they need to make money for themselves, because that's what the kind of people they are. They're all about money and they're all about themselves. They are selfish. They've got to this level of riches not through kindness and not through helping others. They've got to this level of riches by being utterly ruthless and selfish. Anyway, moving on to the transfer news, which I'm excited about because that's what I love talking about. It's brilliant so far. We've had Mason Mount in, and Onana has had his medical finally and is on his way to the US with the team. That is insane. It's going to be brilliant. So we will get to see Onana in the States playing for Manchester United in a few friendlies in pre-season. But if you watched the game yesterday, Man United v Lyon, we won 1-0. Van de Beek scored. What we discovered, and even Ten Hag came out and said it, which was we are missing that key striker. We need a striker spearheading the attack. And I think he was sending out a message to the board that they need to get Højlund in. Højlund will be an absolute gem of a player for Man United. I've been researching into him. I've looked into him a lot more. He'd be perfect. He'd be a perfect player to come in at Manchester United. He is a rough diamond. He still needs a lot of work doing with him, but he is someone who I'm sure will be really good at finishing within the 6-yard box. And with the likes of Rashford and Bruno Fernandes and Mount, he will be loving it. He'll be loving it because he will get some serious amount of goals if he starts moving. I'm very confident that Højlund will get done because my sources have been telling me for weeks that he's agreed personal terms and he is really eager to leave and join Manchester United. He's set his sights on Manchester United. His biggest idol was Cristiano Ronaldo, therefore he wants to follow in the same footsteps as Cristiano Ronaldo. It will be brilliant if he joins Manchester United, and I can see this really happening. It's one of the best news we will get this transfer window. Moving on from Højlund, we're also talking about Amrabat. Now, I'm hearing that United have spoken to Amrabat, but they've not contacted his club. Amrabat currently is 50-50. I don't know whether this will happen or not, and if it does, it will happen near the end of the transfer window. Talking about the end of the transfer window, we are hoping by end of the transfer window we sell some more players, namely Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire has been told by Ten Hag that he's not going to feature in his team going forward. He's not going to be the captain of the team either. So he needs to look elsewhere if he wants regular football. We're hoping that Harry Maguire has now been able to work this one out and decided to start entertaining offers from other clubs. We are hearing rumours that clubs are looking at him carefully, but no offers have been received by Manchester United to date for Harry Maguire. Let's hope that changes because he would be a huge player to sell and we can have some money in the kitty to spend on somebody. But if that's going to come really late on in the transfer window, I don't know whether it'll benefit us right now. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the takeover status. Are you happy with for the Glazers to stay? Are you happy for them to sell to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and stay? Are you wanting a full sale? Also, what do you think of the transfers so far? Are you happy with Onana joining now? And do you want Højlund to join? Or do you think Man United are just wasting the time and should be going after somebody else? Drop your comments below. Hit that like button. Subscribe. Goodbye.